First up, congratulations to Faster Blaster 78 on winning the Transform Element Scorponok. Wish I could have given everyone who entered a copy. You all deserve one. Anyways, I don't think you guys have ever wanted to hear my hot takes on anything more than this last Pulsecon. Not a day has gone by since where I wasn't asked at least 6 times whether or not I'm going to be covering the reveals. I made 2 separate videos where I said I'd get to them soon, and the questions still kept coming. Look guys, I know it was a real inopportune moment for that to come out, what with Beast Wars Week popping off at the same time, but come on, I need you to be a little more patient in the future. Anyways, here you go. It's finally time for me to cover the madness out of Pulsecon. Just heads up for later in the week, I'm going to be going camping on Friday, so you can expect Friday's video to be an extra once-a-day roast demands this week, so it's a little more easy for me to prepare in short notice. I know it can disappoint you guys when it's another one of those versus one of my normal bigger videos, but hey, at least I'm not leaving you with nothing. Now as for the reveals, I'm going to cover the stuff that you probably don't care too much about first, because I'm an asshole. Kingdom Soundwave is getting re-released in Sound Blaster colors. He doesn't have the Mercenaries badge, which I'm pretty sure everyone wants him to come with at this point, since Sound Blaster was probably the only good thing to come out of the whole War for Cybertron show, but at least this is yet another way to pick up one of the most enjoyable figures out of all of Kingdom. Then there's Soundwave, or more specifically Earthrise Soundwave, or even more specifically Shattered Glass Earthrise Soundwave. I know that everyone is making jokes that this is going to turn yellow in just a few days, and Hasbro does have such an unforgivable track record of that by this point, it's absurd. Seriously guys, what the fuck is going on? You made white figures for decades, including Siege and Earthrise, and you didn't have this problem. What are you cheaping out on now, and why are you refusing to stop? Anyways, I know that's all true, but I don't think it should be taken as a given that this figure will suffer that same fate. Hasbro would have to be a bunch of stone-cold morons to let that happen to this figure so late into this problem. They have had so much time to correct this error that it is almost unthinkable that it will persist here. But who knows? All I know is that I kind of actively hate the Earthrise mold, and I'm not big on Shattered Glass Soundwave's colors. So it should come as no surprise to any one of you that one look at the blue metallic they painted him in makes me borderline horny for this thing. I need it! You know me, shiny thing good. Alt mode doesn't even look as bad as normal. Then there's the Breakdown, who is very disappointingly just a retool of Wild Rider. I really expected more of a change, but no dice. The only alteration is the parts forming spoiler. You can combine it with his gun to make an axe or sword or something, and I've heard so many people praising the hell out of this, like, oh wow, what a great idea. And sure, the idea is cool, unfortunately it fucking sucks. Are you kidding me? This isn't an axe or a sword, this is a piece of sheet metal stuck on a gun. How are you supposed to get cut by something that's strapped by its side to a blunt object? If there was a slot across the top that let you slide it in like this, it would make sense. But as it is, it's the dumbest possible thing. It would have been no effort to do what I just said. How did you not come up with that idea? Then you got Galaxy Shuttle. And 1, what an awful name that is. And 2, I am torn between calling this thing Jazz Tro Train and Jazz in Space. I don't like how much I want this, especially since it's a crappy Japanese character. Can't help but notice that I've seen no memes about this guy yellowing. Anyways, for me, this is Jazz after everyone got together and made him a spaceship mode because that's how much they all love him. Even the Decepticons. Seriously, who can dislike Jazz? Anyways, I'm stoked to be finally getting that needle nose. Disappointed it sucks. 1. What is with the horrid lack of paint on everything? Did you blow the entire budget on his shitty Target Masters? Am I supposed to want these? Because I really don't. 2. Does this loser actually transform at all? The whole alt mode is just strapped to his back. This looks like Combiner Wars Silverbolt technology if I'm being generous. Universe Silverbolt if I'm any less charitable. Look at him. His head folds away and his legs wrap around his body, leaving a jet that's sitting on top of a freezer block as pronounced as any Skylinks. And what is with the paint on the cockpit? It's so sloppy and shitty. It seems like the backpack isn't articulated, so the posability of the arms is going to be impacted. The alt mode wings are pathetic and tiny. He has this super cool mode where you can have the gun sticking out of his ass. The whole thing just looks like trash. Like seriously, you idiots couldn't think to have his backpack hinge up like this, and then to have his nose cone flip into his torso? No, instead he's just standing there with an entire cockpit hanging off his ass like he got kicked in the balls so hard he inverted. Then there's Scrapbook, and I feel heard. What's this? A Junkion weaponizer? Well, who could have suggested this back when 86 Rekar was announced? What kind of fourth-dimensional intelligence could have come up with an idea so perfect the moment the leaked listings for the 86 line popped up so long ago? Oh, it was me! And Vindication is so sweet. And what's this? A weaponizer who doesn't parts form to transform? Oh, what a beautiful thing you are. You are everything I could hope for. I never thought I'd be stoked to army build the Junkions. Got a cool alt mode and everything. Though, if you've seen this before, sorry to recycle my biggest Twitter hit ever, looking at those back tires, I have questions. Legends class combiner sludge and slag. Oh yeah, that's the shit. That's that mainline trash I needed. Look, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that I think it's not a super cool or fun idea. I will say, however, oh, these fucking suck. I love how there are people trying to argue that it's a combiner in legend scale, so why should we expect better? Like somehow Road Trap and Battle Slash don't exist. That's a 2-person legend scale combiner, and it turned out great. And this is a team with significantly more members, which means that each individual figure has to carry less of the load. How did they turn out this way? Slag is easily the better looking of the two. I'll stop calling him slag when British 4-year-olds stop treating the word like a replacement for every noun and adjective. And also, I moved to England, because I live in America, or literally anywhere else but that one tiny island. This is like if Michigan decided that it was going to demand that Optimus Prime had to change his name because Prime meant ready to fuck over there. Also, I picked Michigan at random only to discover that it is almost exactly the same size as the UK. So take that! There are 49 more where that came from, and almost all of them are even bigger. I don't know why I'm trying to make the argument that landmass determines who gets to name things what. Anyways, slag doesn't mean whore in the US or Canada or Germany or France or literally anywhere else but you. And I take exception to being told that none of us can say his true name because parent groups in the UK got their panties in a twist. Seriously, it's definitely not the populace who again treat the word like a generic conjunction replacing and. I didn't mean for that to be a 200-word rant about naming, but here we are. Anyways, Slag is easily the better looking of the two. Meanwhile, Sludge is comically bad. Gotta love that he just has the scaled down Great Khali head. And while neither of them have elbows, it's way more noticeable on this thing, with his weird proportions and arms bracketed way off his body, like Volcanicus cosplaying as Sludge. And this figure has to have the most loathsome knees I've ever seen. His legs are connected by a chain of kibble mounted to his hips. What a desperately cursed lad. And why the hell is Grimlock not the core of the combiner? These look like knockoffs, and I can't wait to get them in hand so I can hate on them some more. Then there's Hot Shot, and I have never seen anything look simultaneously so bad and so good. He looks exactly like his character model. But at the same time, that character model was always a goofy design, with his complete lack of neck, weird posture that makes him look like he has an iron rod up his ass, and Spaceballs helmet. So at baseline, this is a weird looking figure, but perfectly right for all those Armada fans out there, who, unlike some other series in the franchise, don't seem to be getting disrespected. Though I do think Armada's design philosophy does fit with the normal Chug aesthetic more. I will say that this guy needs some more color breakup. He looks so plain. Give this man a separately colored crotch piece, so he's not just wearing a big old onesie. He's got the flip-down visor that looks like a set of headphones, so he can do his backpack cannon correctly, and I just know that the top of this being asymmetrical and clear is going to annoy the hell out of me. Alt mode is basically perfect, but I just gotta point out one thing before I stop talking about this guy that I've seen no one else talk about. Jesus Christ, can he even bend his knees at all? Those have to be the worst legs I've ever seen. I literally can't imagine anything uglier. They are a cluster of parts with clear plastic jutting off the backs of them all the way up to the tops of his thighs. And these don't have gaps. They are gaps. Seriously, those are the most heinous legs I've ever seen on any figure. They are hideous, and they clearly have extremely limited articulation. If the roof wasn't clear plastic, they could have put the window on a pin that slid down to free up some space, but as it is, just damn! What an incredibly powerful flaw. Now for the joke that everyone's making.
Big Brother Ed.
This is such an awful looking piece of crap. To be fair though, a lot of this just stems from the fact that Leo Convoy has one of the stupidest designs in all of Transformers. What's that? 50% furry, 50% Optimus Prime with giant kibble hanging off his elbows? Tell me less! I don't ever want to hear another person complain about Siege Prime sleeves if this is what we're gonna give a pass. Look at these ugly things! They are attached by a strut to a flat panel of kibble that attaches to some furry paws that hang off his elbows. And that's not all the kibble he's got. No, instead he's got a whole lion head hanging off one shoulder and his whole ass off the other. Plus, don't get me started on these proportions. I'm always complaining about legs that are too long, especially on primes, but these just go too far the other way. They're tiny, they look so stubby and stupid, and these dumbass fucking feet do not help. This is all I can see when I look at this shitty design. The lion mode wouldn't be terrible if it weren't for, you know, that. And also the blunted teeth make him look like some cartoon hick. This is something I will only be picking up out of obligation to review it. Now, the one you've all been waiting for. Tarn. You know, I'd say that MMC should probably sue, but I don't think they can. This looks so much like their version of this guy, it's hilarious. That's not a knock on this thing, because it looks fantastic. Though I do wish they went with a more saturated purple, as the one they did use is a bit weak. Based on what we've seen, this is going to be extremely poseable, though he does appear to have some hot rod shoulders. Overall, I'd say that I think this actually looks a little better to me than the MMC figure. That feels so sacrilegious to say. But the proportions are a little nicer, though his biceps still aren't beefy enough. His feet look a lot more workable than the MMC ones, which were a little long in the toe and a little short in the heel. As there are multiple mounting points for the dual fusion cannon, he will probably have more range on his cannon arm than the MMC one does. The clear plastic inserts in his torso look a lot cooler and a lot more accurate than the paint on the MMC, and I thought his hands were directly off the G-axis, but no, they're actually clawed like Tarn is supposed to have. So that's yet another point in this figure's favor. I hear that the mask can't come off, so that's a bit of a slight bummer, but not anything that ruins this toy. I mean, who even displays Tarn with his mask off anyways? I have to wonder if the entire torso is actually clear plastic that's just been painted. Based on what I'm seeing with the cannons, the alt mode crest, and the collar of the figure, this might be the most painted thing Hasbro has ever made because it's like 70% clear plastic, which would be both stupid and shocking that they bothered to give us this much value. Also, the alt mode looks way better than the MMC. So ultimately, as much as I just managed to whinge up a storm, I actually think that most of this is super promising. Legacy Evolution looks to be stacking up to offer some super cool figures that I'm excited to get my hands on. Space Jazz, despite being a mold that we've gotten before, looks sick. Hot Shot, despite the legs, could be really good, but man, those are a drag. Needle Nose really feels like they botched it, but at the same time, he still has a cool design, at least from the front, and it looks really poseable. Scrapbook looks fantastic, and oh boy, those are some good heels on him. Soundwave's cool. That was both Soundwave is as a contraction, and Soundwaves, plural. Those Dinobots, while stupid, also look fun. With Dead End, it'll be nice to finally finish off Menasor, and cool of Hasbro to not change the packaging on that one, so the mint and box collectors won't get screwed over, despite the fact that it seems like they should have just released it in normal Legacy. And Tarn is absolutely everything I could possibly want from a chug version of this character. He looks so good, like he's going to be the equal, if not better than G-Axis, but this time without the surprise. Hasbro is killing it with the Voyagers recently, and I can't believe they aren't charging us leader prices just for the privilege. And that's not half what I have to say, but it's enough what I have to say. And I know, you know, what everyone else tells you to do at the end of these videos. So, if you liked what you saw here, please do that. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please, share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.